Hey yo, what's good everyone? Twisted here with Open Sorcery, and today I want to go ahead and talk about the Fable, the story titled The Lion and the Mouse by the Greek storyteller Aesop, or at least it's credited to them in that this is one of many stories across the ages that there is no historical, consensus that Aesop was the legitimate, in fact, originator of the tales, but it's very much, been credited to them. Not to say that he did not come up with any story tales of his own, or any fables or what have you. It's just simply that there isn't as much historical evidence to go ahead and support it definitively and all of that. But nonetheless, so in wanting to talk about this fable, the general premise of it is about how charity and kindness can go a long way. And this isn't the first time I've gone ahead and recited a tale or, some sort of particular story that conveys a moral in it, what have you. There have been several occasions throughout the history of open sorcery thus far, with the Thunder Sun tale, the Native American tale about valuing inner beauty, the tale of Is That So, which is a Zen koan about assuming, as well as The Stingy Artist, a koan about assuming intentions. So I'll go ahead and put links in the description to those if you want to go and hear my recitations of them, as well as giving a bit of commentary of my own afterwards and what have you, which they aren't necessarily difficult to grasp or understand and know themselves, but going ahead and putting my 2 cents and providing that additional food for thought as well, which is my intention and goal with this one, and what have you. And also provide a link to the particular webpage which I am using as the source for this iteration of The Lion and the Mouse. So, here we go. A lion lay asleep in the forest, his great head resting on his paws. A timid little mouse came upon him unexpectedly, and in her fright and haste to get away, ran across the lion's nose. Roused from his nap, the lion laid his huge paw angrily on the tiny creature to kill her. "Spare me," begged the poor mouse. "Please let me go, and someday I will surely repay you." The lion was much amused to think that a mouse could ever help him, but he was generous and finally let the mouse go. Some days later, while stalking his prey in the forest, the lion was caught in the toils of a hunter's net. Unable to free himself, he filled the forest with his angry roaring. The mouse knew the voice and quickly found the lion struggling in the net. Running to one of the great ropes that bound him, she gnawed it until it parted, and soon the lion was free. "You laughed when I said I would repay you," said the mouse. "Now you see that even a mouse can help a lion." And on the webpage, it ends with the quote that's not a part of the original story, but it goes ahead and drives the point home of a kindness is never wasted. So let's go ahead and just let it marinate for a moment and think about the story in of itself, right? It doesn't matter whether it's a mouse or, say someone seemingly insignificant or not capable or what have you. Everybody is able to contribute and have something to offer. So if you go ahead and you show somebody a kindness, like the lion did, you can potentially receive it in return, directly or indirectly. So let me go ahead and further elaborate in all of that. So once again, the moral of the story is that providing generosity and kindness towards others can lead to it being reciprocated to you in the future. And while the story illustrates a direct repaying of the lion's merciful act, there is always potential for good deeds to be returned from other directions and in unexpected ways. So, you can go ahead and, just the whole, general stereotypical example of helping an old lady with her groceries, into bring them into her car or her home or what have you, or helping an old lady cross the street. That in of itself, you might never see that old lady again, but indirectly speaking, you can go ahead and have someone help you down the line when you're incapacitated Or maybe you got an injury, maybe you got a messed up leg and you're on crutches and you can't really go ahead and handle carrying things, or you got a broken arm or something, or just more so physically incapable, like said older person would be. And that's just one example that kind of relates somewhat in terms of not being as physically capable as you'd like, but it can go ahead and present itself in a variety of ways, manifest in different ways, means, manners, and so on, what have you. But the general premise is, if you go ahead and do good deeds and pay it forward, it can come back to you. This in effect helps you to accumulate positive karma for those who are aware of and believe in this sort of thing, and can be returned to you at a later point in time. So just the general notion of karma in of itself, right? What goes around comes around, accumulating merit, as is often translated, or at least from the sources I come across, when it comes to more so the Buddhist perspective of karma and how they view it, and that being like you're accumulating merit, what have you, and going ahead and taking that good karma, and that being, you could say, good credit. If you're trying to build a credit score of some sort, right? You want to get a high credit score so you can go ahead and, get loans and get different things, more so easily available to you financially speaking, and or property-wise, and so on, what have you. So you can think about it in that sort of manner, but more so goodwill being done unto you in some sort of metaphysical, spiritual, magical sort of way, in a sense, some sort of indirect manner. Or it could be, once again, directly reciprocated, what have you, but, either way. It more so depends on, just how many good deeds you do over time, and paying it forward, and those ripples in the lake, you can say, ripples in the pond, the water, what have you, spreading out, and all that sort of thing. And once it touches other people, other sources of ripples themselves, it can come back to you in some way, shape, or form. But yes, think about how you may have done a good deed in the past, and what nice gestures were returned towards you afterwards at some point by the same person or group, or seemingly in a coincidental or synchronistic manner. So take a moment. Think about if you've done something nice for somebody, and what have you. Can you recall, whatever example that comes to mind of an instance where they, repaid that at some point down the line, whomever that particular person or group was? Or, if there was something that seemed like, oh, you know what, maybe this is in response to the action I took previously, but, it wasn't from the same person or group, but there were similar themes to it, maybe. Something that just seemed to ring true about it. And that, it happened to be, a little bit, uncanny and all of that sort of thing. But yes. And not wanting to keep this monologue going on for a bit too long, I essentially wanted to provide food for thought that when you see someone struggle or possibly in need of assistance, consider taking a few moments out of your day to lend a helping hand. Because honestly, you never know how your charity and kindness may be repaid to you down the line. So, in having stated that point quite a few times throughout this, I think I got it pretty much well across, and hopefully this serves as a reminder, serves as a nice incentive or, inspiration to go ahead and help a couple people out, in the near future, when you don't necessarily need to, or it might be disadvantageous to you, or take a couple minutes out of your day, and might seem, well, for those who aren't necessarily as familiar with doing those sorts of things, it might seem a little bit draining, I guess you can say. But honestly, it's not really, and I'm kind of just going ahead and running on, so I'll leave it at that. With that having been said, this is Twisted with Open Sorcery, and stay frosty, Neguses. Peace.